stakes begin. This is the beginning of the construction easement, and it travels off, and it varies in width. In some areas it's up to 170 feet wide. But the pink stake, those pink to pink, is the permanent easement. Okay. And then the white to the white that goes all the way 120 feet over there is part of the construction pink. So everything within the white has to be completely wiped out, cleared. And this side of it is just a narrow side, but most of the construction occurs on that side of it. I'll take you over there and show you that. But
and all this stuff was here before you ever talked to TransCanada?
What they did is they came in and just marked a center line.
We're here with David Daniel on his property with Ron Seifert, getting a tour in Winnsboro, Texas.
Neighbor Becky, which I met, she called me one day and said people have been trespassing on the property, and so I came back on the property to check it out and found that it had been fully surveyed, staked, and had these orange stakes with PL, it's kind of a bit faded, but PL XL 36 inch, splitting the property in half. And so that was my introduction to the pipeline in TransCanada. That's how I learned about it, was finding the stakes on my property, and the trespassing, yeah, which was an ongoing problem.
And how's it been since then?
Well, after they did their multitude of surveys, it's been relatively quiet with the surveyors. Periodically, you'll still find them coming through or parked on the road, but for a while there, they would just unannounced, even with an agreement of having them call me ahead of time. Even with that agreement, they would still show up unannounced, come up the driveway, or find them on the property, or coming out of the property. Things like that. They don't care.
They don't care.
No, it's easier. If somebody has the money to bring charges against them and stuff, it's easiest for them just to pay the fine and keep on moving.
So your neighbor Becky, she, I understand she found some trespassers on her land, some surveyors from TransCanada, and met them with a shotgun.
Yeah, she had the same constant ongoing problem and got tired of it, and finally, met them with a shotgun, as well as her dogs roam free, and it treated a couple of surveyors.
Her dog.
Her dog, yeah.
And that's a sweet dog. I met that dog, so that dog must not like what that dog was picking up.
Dogs are a good sense of character and what's going on, But this is the south side of the easement. So in this spot right here, it would be 120 feet wide. I'll take you over where it turns out, where it ends up being 170 feet wide, because they have to deal with the creek crossings. And
that's a beautiful. Is that a spring-fed creek?
They're all spring-fed creeks. We're in the worst drought in Texas recorded history, and this thing has not stopped flowing. And it's.
Can you say that again? I want to make sure everybody got that.
Yeah, we're in the worst drought in Texas history, and this has not stopped flowing. And the rest of the 20 acres looks like it's been in fall for months. But this area down here has been thriving all along, because we've got 3 creeks that come together that all fall within this easement, and seeps and springs with water coming up out of the ground.
And the pipeline's going to cross all 3 of them?
It would cut through all of it, including the seeps and springs. When in fact, technically they could have moved it one way or the other, not even by much, to miss the bottomland wetland area, but they were completely unwilling to do that. They don't care. They simply don't care. It's not their problem. And consultants that I've talked to have said that it will, in all good likelihood, disrupt the seeps and springs that run and feed the creeks.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. But I drink out of the creeks, when they're flowing good, when the springs are flowing good and feeding into there. I'll drink out of the creeks. It's just, it's nice and cold and clean and good stuff. But I would never do it again if this thing goes through. I mean, with the State Department saying as much as 1.7 million gallons can leak daily without triggering the real-time leak detection system.
1.7 million
1.7
gallons?
million, and that's acceptable to them. You know, that can leak, you know, and through pinhole leaks and things of that nature. That's how much is allowable to leak daily, undetected. I would have no idea. You know, all the crazy carcinogen diluents and just the tar sands themselves, laden with all kinds of heavy metals and such. You just have no idea what is going to be seeping into the ground daily, on a daily basis.
Your family lives here. This is your land.
That's right. And so many people depend on this water. You know, people have all their wells, you know, as you can dig down. When I walked through with one of the survey crews, you know, I caught up with them and walked through with the archaeological crew right here, right in this area. They dug down because what they do with the archaeological survey is they go according to what was plotted on their computer, on their GPS. They don't look for anything. They go where the computer tells them to go. They went to 5 points within 1.4 acres, dug a cubic foot hole, sieved it, moved on to the next spot. They dig a foot, they hit water, you know, and many of the areas down here. So, you know, we have a lot of the same issues that, you know, Nebraska has, not quite as severe with the sand hills.
Let me get this straight. They dig 1 foot, and the pipeline is going to be buried how many feet down?
4 feet. Yeah. Yeah. So, and so the pipeline in this area will be sitting in water most of the time, because when we have good rains, this whole area is flooded.
I've noticed, you know, riding through this part of the country that I've seen a lot of standing water, and it reminded me a little bit of the sand hills in Nebraska, actually.
Yeah. I mean, it's sandy soil.
Yeah.
You dig down, that's sand. It's sandy soil.
I see that.
So it's, you can see in the creek all the, all the sand. Yeah,
Let's go down to the creek. You mind? This is a beautiful little creek. Here's that nasty pink steak.
You can see all the animals, you know, animal tracks. This is where they come for water, you know, especially with the drought and all the ponds and stuff drying up. They're always down here, and we got bear and panther and tons of deer, and you know, and of course all the hunters, they eat the deer. You know, so
Sure.
Whatever the animals are eating and drinking, the people are doing the same.
So this is their water fountain right here.
Yeah. Deer and you know, even panther and there's all kinds of wild stuff. Lots of boar. People eat the boar around here. This is so beautiful. What a gift. Yeah. And it's cold, it's clear. It's good. No chlorine.
No chlorine.
No.
Let's hope to keep it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll take you and show you the other areas where the easement gets even wider. And this is just where it begins on the south side. It goes another 500 feet you know, to the north.
Okay.
As well.
Okay.
This is just one edge of it.
How many sets of stakes are there?
Originally, when they came through and put them, I pulled them up. I pulled them up and broke them. I was going to find out who put them in and mail it to them.
Good on you.
But they came back and put in more. Pull them up, they come back, they put in more, and then all the white and the pink. Because originally, most people, everybody that I know, I don't know anybody else that I've spoken with that have the white and the pink. They all just have the orange center line. And through, you know, I've just been dealing with it for 3.5 years, and through, you know, finding their construction mitigation reclamation plan, I found out that I could make them come out, stake the entire area. You know, what is permanent, what is temporary, what is additional temporary, and that way we could, you know, truly assess, you know, a damage appraisal, you know, of what would actually be taken. Otherwise, you know, they just get away with it, and, you know, people don't have a clue. They don't have any idea of what they, you know, the burden is on the people to find out what this company is supposed to do and then make them do it. They are not forthcoming with that kind of information, so a lot of people get really, really ripped off, and they have no idea.
Speaking of, what did they tell you about the damage to all your trees and the reclamation process?
Yeah, when they, after doing the surveys and all the trespassing and stuff, they finally come to me with their agent called me and said, "I want to meet with you and give you an offer, but we have to meet alone. If you're with anybody, we'll leave." And the offer was for the 1.4 acres of hardwoods that they would clear. Was for $2,443 for a one-time payment for an indefinite easement. I'm like, well, this obviously, doesn't reflect the value of any trees. And I said, what about the trees? You're going to take out 1.4 acres of old-growth hardwoods, and so we don't pay for trees. So, what about replanting trees in the temporary easements that you'll allow to grow back? So we don't replant trees either. So, again, I found out that was untrue later on. That was untrue, and through the construction mitigation plan and other consultants and stuff, that was just another blatant lie, and misrepresenting, payment for damages and things like that. So they will just try to get away with anything they can, just relying on the fact that the people don't know.
Yeah.
And that's deceptive practices. That's a violation of our laws. One of the many.
And I understand you're planning on doing something about that.
Absolutely. I've been carefully documenting over the 3.5 years all these instances and talking to landowners up and down the line. And it's not just me. It's not just Texas. It's up and down the line in every state. There are cases of fraud and deceptive practices and coercion and on and on and on. And so
we've met a lot of these people, haven't we, Ron?
Yeah. So we're carefully documenting that, and pretty soon we'll be presenting essentially what is a fraud case, and showing proof of what has happened and how they have acquired these easements that they call successful agreements.
That's what they call them.
That's what they call them. I'm a successful agreement.
Yeah.
I don't completely agree with that assessment, but to them it is
sure.
Yeah. Any acquisition by whatever means is a success for them.
Yeah, right.
So,
just by happenstance, when we went to a neighboring town to get my bike work done, the one guy in the shop, we walked in, told him where we were riding to. Why are you doing that? Told him to stop the Keystone Pipeline. He said, well, what do you know? Keystone Pipeline goes through my property, too.
No kidding.
Yeah. And sure enough, they gave him the runaround, gave him a couple really low, unfair offers. He said he didn't want anything to do with them. They threatened to take him to court. Day before the court hearing, they came knocking on his door with a completely different offer, enough that he was willing to sign the easement, but just told him two totally different things, that he couldn't possibly get a better offer for him, that they were going to sue him, that they were going to take him to court and just get the land anyway. He said, fine, do it. Totally changed their story just the day before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Fraud.
Yeah. Yeah, you are, by law, you're not supposed to take advantage of, someone's lack of knowledge for the company's direct benefit. And, we're certainly able to show that it's not just one agent, not some rogue agent.
Right.
That there is accountability all the way up through the top, because they've constantly denied, any trespassing and things like that. And, there are tons of accounts of that, but I don't know how many times over 3.5 years I have said to reporters about the trespassing, and then TransCanada responds in the article saying we're not aware of any instances. When you have the same person from TransCanada, Terry Kuna, saying we're not aware of any trespassing, when that's his standard response every single time in every article over the years, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Apparently you were aware after the first time.
This sounds like a 60 Minutes piece to me.
Do what we got to do.
Well, why don't we go see the rest of what you want to show us?
Yeah,
and
this is just
I'm going to get a taste of your spring-fed creek here myself. Beautiful.
Not quite like Colorado, but
Hey, it's got its own unique flavor.
That's right.